Hi guys, this is Derek from Pacific Coast Auto here in Japan, and we're looking at our auction purchase of an E36 BMW M3. And so this is the Japanese domestic model version of it, and so it mirrors the European model, and you don't get the stupid version of the car like they got in the US, and I believe Canada got that as well, the neutered version that's not really an M3. This one gets the full power of the good engine instead of just a 3-liter version of their regular engine. If you guys don't know about that, Canada and the US did get a really terrible version of the E36, and then they got the regular versions from E46 on, and then this one in the rest of the world got its 3-liter engine, and then later got a 3.2-liter engine with a 6-speed. This one's the early model with the 5-speed. Okay, this was bought at auction. It's going to be exported to Canada. And a little something about this car, the condition of it is not very good, and that was on purpose. And so for those of you who don't know, I know most of you guys do, but we're not a car dealer. What you do is you buy cars through auction using us as an auction purchasing agent. And so basically you get to pick the condition that your car is and how much that you want to pay. So while we generally recommend really great cars, like both of those are, this one is not great. And then some people want to get not great cars because if you're kind of an expert with certain cars, which I know the owner of this one is, then you get to buy a car at a decent price and you get to fix up the car to make it extremely good. And certain poor condition cars can be fixed up for less money than it costs to buy a good one. But you really have to be an expert at the car and at purchasing and at cars in general in order to make that a good plan. And so I'm not gonna talk too much about that, but let's get into the condition of this one. So the mileage of the car is an important thing to know. In this one we don't know the mileage of the car, but it looks like mechanically it is quite good, not perfect, but the engine is very nice. I did take this one for a test drive, drove it only about 10 minutes or so, but the inline 6-cylinder is very smooth, and this is an amazing engine. I love BMW engines, and this is one of their best ones. Yeah, the 3.2 is better, of course, but this one is very good. You'll see here you get individual throttle bodies, one per cylinder, and a lot of the M cars have that, even dating back to the really old ones, and that is a huge plus. It gives you a lot more response, it gives you a lot more feedback, and it just feels and sounds really great. Not many cars have the individual throttle bodies because it's much more expensive for manufacturers to make, and if you're just looking at the paper on a car, like the specs of a car, it doesn't really help out that much in the specs. It's more of a feeling of driving, and that's why BMW called themselves the ultimate driving machine, because they made driving fun. Okay, so you probably saw the hood there. The paint is bad on the hood. Let's take a look at what the auction sheet says. It's pretty hard on this car, so let's see. It's a 1996 M3 3-liter with 5-speed. This is an auction grade 3 with an interior D. It says 109,391 kilometers, but pay attention to the star here. That means check the note, and the note says that the gauges have been changed, and there's no history paper for when the gauges were changed, but the seller believes that the mileage is probably somewhere in the 240,000 kilometer range, probably over that, he says. And so that's really nice of him to write that, because if you see the 109, you might think, oh, maybe it's 180 or something, but 240 is pretty high mileage. It's good to know that it is a high mileage car when you're going to buy it. Comes with warranty papers and owner's manuals, which we haven't received yet, but those may have some clues as to why the seller said probably 240. Purchase from user, 5-speed manual, total collection box, original wheels. Let me just show you those wheels. They're 17-inch. Sadly, there are winter tires on them, so you don't get so much grip at the moment. I guess in the snow you would. Kind of a weird tire to put on an M3. I would rather just not drive it in the winter, but there's a reason why you put winter tires on in the winter, even if you're not going to see snow, because they will give you better grip when the asphalt is extremely cold, especially compared to a sports tire. Okay, the body is pretty terrible here. All the slash marks are peeling paint, and it's on just about every single panel. Peeling paint, peeling paint, peeling paint, dent. Only one dent on the body. Pretty crazy. So the body is really good aside from the peeling paint, which is a little bit weird, but repaint the whole thing. and you don't have to put too much time and effort into fixing the dents. Paint cracked and misaligned front bumper. Take a look at the misalignment right here. It's right at the corner, and I'll give you another angle here. Okay. And then some scratches on the rear bumper and some minor scratches on the front. And this is repainted hood and paint peeling. If you look at the hood closely, it's a it's a very different color. And so that is W2. Sometimes W means repainted poorly, or shows that it's been repainted. Technically it means wave, but it could be other things as well. See the peeling paint on the roof there. Okay, so lots of stuff here. Winter tires, wheels scratched, center ornament peeling. I don't know why they called this the center ornament. Usually called the hood ornament or the badge, the mark or whatever. Steering wheel peeling, aftermarket suspension. Judging by how low it is, that's true. Driver's seat side saggy and ripped. And it's too bad because these are amazing seats in this car. Trim comes up and comes off, that's on the doors. Headliner comes down and is largely saggy and has been fixed with some pins and has a rip in it. Interior, dirty, underside, one part surface rust. Really, that's nothing to be worried about, the underside surface rust. Especially this car is going to be going to Canada. In Canada, cars get this bad after about 2 years, 3 years. And I'm not being hyperbolic there. Various paint peeling, and some parts are different colors, and various scratches, dents, and repairs. And power steering makes strange sounds. It did while I was driving it. Now that I parked it for the review, it stopped doing it. And I'm going to check the power steering fluid once that cools down. It's a metal canister, and so it burns your fingers. Okay, so we're at 7 minutes, and we're already, or not already, we're doing the walk around. It's a little bit late. Sorry guys, but if you made it this far, thumbs up for yourself. Okay, looks like an aftermarket rear wing there, and a design that I quite like, the dual wing and how it sticks up a lot off of the back there. It's just an insert. I believe it's an insert that you put in underneath the stock spoiler to prop it up, give it a little bit more angle. I really like that kind of thing. I just think that it's a cool idea. And a lot of cars do that really well, especially like Toyota did it stock on the Celica, little blocks that you put in. Okay, so aside from the rear spoiler, everything on the body is stock. Well, I guess there's a gas cap thing. Let's see if we can get some focus. Yeah, woo! When it gets dark like it is today, the camera doesn't like focusing as much. Okay, we don't have room to get it all in the frame here, so I'm sorry about that. Take a look at the front. So, having driven this car, and this being the very first E36 M3 that I've driven, not exported, we've exported a few, this is the first one I've driven. Oh my gosh, is it ever fun to drive these cars. I love the size of it, I love the way that the steering feels, even though the steering on this one is not perfect. And that engine is just so smooth and revs up so quickly. It is a complete pleasure to drive. And other great cars to drive, like Nissan Skyline GTRs, it feels in the same category as that in terms of funness. This one, of course, rear-wheel drive instead of four-wheel drive, but that engine, so nice. Oh yeah, I did mention in the other one, this door doesn't like opening properly. Okay, here's the door liner that's coming up. That's on both sides, about the same. And then this one's got a rip here, the other one has a rip that's in this section here. Okay, steering wheel has a lot of sun damage on it. And the seats, see, these are awesome seats. I love that they're not power because for some reason I like manual seats. It makes me feel like I'm doing something. And this one has a lot of things that you can pull and stuff. And so it has my favorite skinny person piece. It can go forward and back, of course. This one here is a dump lever. And this is like Volkswagen's as well. Only the back goes up and down, and it's kind of fun to press. It's like, whee! I guess not that fun to listen to, but it is fun. Here's the rip in the seat. And you can see it's a little bit saggy in this cushion. Okay, and it is made out of half Alcantara. Back seats, of course, are matching there. They seem to be in good condition, and the passenger seat seems to be in good condition as well. Okay, let's see if it'll make the weird sounds for power steering. It's like, wow, wow. So, no weird sounds this time. So, it fixed itself. Love it when that happens. Okay, AC works. Clutch is good. Engine response is good. Neighbor's gonna be mad if I rev it, but it sounds so good with that aftermarket exhaust, especially while you're driving it. Like, cars will sound different when you're just at a standstill and revving the engine compared to how they sound when you're actually driving. It sounds like this engine, when it's around 3,500 RPM, is so good. It looks like it has variable valve timing. I looked at the front of the engine. The camshafts have kind of like these weird electronic things onto where they are. I think it has that, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's the 46 that got the variable valve timing. BMW calls it Vanos, and I didn't see anything that said Vanos in the engine bay. Okay, lots of wear on the shift lever there and on the shift knob there. And so obviously I know the customer who has bought this, he is probably better prepared than anyone I know to put together a classic BMW. And so if you look at the condition of this car, it might make you sad seeing all the peeling paint and the neglect that has gone into it. But the good thing about this story is that this one is going to come back to life much better and in extremely good condition. So that is basically all that we're going to show on this one. And so that will be the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope we see an E46 next, because we've actually never sold a 46 yet, which is the next generation after this. But I like these cars much more than I thought that I would. I never really cared for the styling, but actually getting to drive one, it really feels a lot more special than I thought that it did. And I very much like this car now. And someone please buy an E30 M3, because that's our unicorn car. We've probably bid on more than 100 of them and never won one. So that'll be the end of the video here. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great day.